So what you telling me is that Fred and Scott McTominay are better than Donny van de Beek. That's what you telling me. Did we really want to win this game? Or was this a game that we just needed to get out of the way so that we could go to Europa and play Roma? Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. What a bore of a game. Let's talk about Donny van de Beek, because it's even useless us talking about this game because there's nothing that happened in this game. Donny van de Beek comes on the 88th minute. This is a game where we need to score a goal, but most importantly, this is a game that we need control of. Just if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, hit that subscribe button right now to see more content of this quality. This is a game where we need to get the ball and be composed on the ball because we did not have any of that. So Donny is the perfect player to come on and give us composure on the ball and help us move the ball around quickly, because Donny doesn't take more than 2 touches on the ball. He plays 1 and 2 touch football, and that's something that you learn from Ajax. That's something that you learn from Ajax. They only play that football, and elite clubs play that football. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Liverpool to some extent, not this current Liverpool, but last season and seasons before. 1 and 2 touch football, especially in the midfield. We could not do that. We were slow with our progressive movements of the ball, and we bring Donny on the 88th minute. That is embarrassing. I'm sorry to say, but it's embarrassing. And for Donny needs to hand in a transfer request. That's what needs to happen. He has to hand in a transfer request because it's at the point where we are embarrassing him now. It's no longer that, okay, he just can't get minutes. It's embarrassing. Why bring him on the 88 minutes? Leave him on the bench. 88 minutes, you bringing him on. In hindsight, that if you don't know the score line of the game, you would think United are winning the game, that we bring Donny on the 88 minute. But we are drawing this game, and the game is there to be won. Because Leeds are not outstanding in defending. They're not. They defend one-on-one. And it's a risky way of defending. But we bring Donny on the 88th minute. Guys, Donny has to hand in a transfer request. What happened this season with United and him is a total embarrassment. The fact that people like Fred and Scott McTominay are ahead of Donny van de Beek is a total embarrassment at any other club. Those midfielders cannot even lace Donny's boots. I'm serious. Real Madrid were looking at buying Donny van de Beek. Who's looking to buy Scott McTominay? No one will look to buy Scott McTominay. Who's looking to buy Fred? Current Fred right now at Man United. No one. No top club will buy Fred. But Real Madrid wants Donny van de Beek, and Donny can't get into this team ahead of those 2 midfielders. The game bypassed our midfield. We had no control of the ball in this game in the midfield. No control at all. Nothing whatsoever. When you are a midfielder, you need to take control of the ball. You need to dictate the tempo of the game. That's what the best midfielders do. They dictate the tempo of the game. Scott McTominay and Fred cannot do that because they are woeful on the ball. Both of them cannot pass. And both of their footballing IQs are not high at all. And Fred and Scott McTominay is extremely low with regards to his footballing IQ. And as a midfielder, if you don't have footballing IQ, you are doomed. Because the best midfielders, their footballing IQ is through the roof. They understand the game. They know about spatial awareness. They know where the other players are before they even receive the ball. And that's how they can play 1 and 2 touch football. Scott McTominay and Fred don't have the ability to do that. We needed control in the midfield of this game. We needed to get the ball and have composure on the ball and dictate the tempo of the game, playing long and short passes. We needed to do that, and we left Donny van de Beek on the bench for 88 minutes. 88 minutes. I'm sorry, but this boy needs to hand in a transfer request. And the situation with Donny van de Beek has to be looked at and has to be put at the manager's feet. This manager signed Donny van de Beek. He put his stamp of approval and said to the transfer department in Man United that I'm happy with Donny van de Beek. Go and sign me Donny van de Beek. He signed Donny van de Beek for Donny van de Beek to be a bench player. So we wasted 40 million euros We wasted 30-something million pounds for Donny to sit on the bench. We don't have an array of talents. We don't have a squad filled with 22 players or 23 players with outstanding ability. We don't have that. We need to sort out our starting 11 before we can buy players who sit on the bench. But this manager bought a player who sits on the bench. A 40 million euro player. That has to be at the manager's feet. I'm sorry. This game, we did not want to win this game. First of all, the manager, I can understand putting Paul Pogba and Cavani on the bench. I can understand it because there is bigger games, namely Roma and Liverpool, and in Roma again. However, this manager picked a counter-attacking starting 11 for a team that gave us the ball and allowed us to come on to them. Leeds, I mean, this is naive of this manager, guys, and I don't want to really go too hard into him, but it is naive. It's naive for him to think that Leeds would play the same way that they played in the first game that we versed him in the first half of the season. It's very naive, and even for that first game, Bielsa has to take the full brunt of that, because you cannot go head-to-head with Man United when you've got 4 superior players in Man United. I mean 4 inferior players to Man United. You cannot go head-to-head with us. We will destroy you. The only clubs that can go head-to-head with us in a footballing game is clubs that have similar players of similar ability. Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, those type of clubs. Even Leicester, those type of clubs. But when you've got the players that Leeds have to go head-to-head with us, is totally suicidal, and the manager made a mistake in the first game. But Oli is naive to think that Bielsa would do the same thing. Bielsa will play at the same tempo, and he'll play the same attacking game. It's naive of the manager to think that, and the manager put out a lineup that says that he does think that. He thinks we can play on the counter-attack. That was a counter-attacking lineup. The minute you have Fred and Scott McTominay in the midfield, you already know, and you're already saying, we are conceding possession. We are not going to have much possession of the ball. We're going to play on the counter-attack. Because those players, that's what they're there in the midfield to do. They're there in the midfield to run around and not have the ball. The minute we have the ball, you don't see Scott McTominay. But when we don't have the ball, you see so much of him. You see him running around, kicking players on the ankles. But the minute we have the ball, you don't see Scott because he doesn't want the ball. He's not good enough to be on the ball. His technical ability is so low. And the only reason he's at Man United is because he comes from the academy. The only reason, and my view, guys, of academy players is as such, is that when you want to decide, okay, should they come into the first team or should they be a starting 11 player, you need to ask yourself this: if he wants an academy player and he's playing for another team, would Man United sign him? And if the answer is no, that boy should never be starting for us. But if the answer is yes, then yes, he should be starting for us or having an opportunity to start for us. When you look at Greenwood, if I ask you that question right now, if Greenwood was playing for another club, would Man United sign him? The answer is yes. We would sign him. If Rashford was playing for another club, would Man United sign him? Yes. The answer is yes. Man United should sign him. So when Greenwood and Rashford are starting, I've got no problem with that. Let me ask you that question for Scott McTominay. If Scott McTominay was playing for another team, would Man United sign him? The answer is no. It is a clear no. That boy should not be starting for us. He should not be starting for us, and he starts because he runs around, he gives endeavor, he gives desire, he plays for the badge. But when it's time for him to knuckle down and have the ball at his feet, you see his true ability. And I'm just like, that's what I'm saying. Oli put those players. So the minute you have Fred, Scott McTominay, and Dan James in the 11, number one, you're conceding possession, and you telling the whole team that we are going to play on the counter-attack, because all 3 of those players' technical ability to keep the ball is extremely low. Extremely low. You cannot play all of them together. You can carry one player in a team. You can carry one player. But the minute you're talking about carrying 2 to 3 players, you're asking too much. And that's what we're doing. When we literally playing those guys, we're carrying 3 players. We're carrying 2 to 3 players. 2 to 3 players, because I still think in Fred there's a player there. There is a player in Fred, no doubt about that. But Scott McTominay and Dan James, you're carrying them. And you saw the Dan James opportunity that he had. And you saw Dan James throughout this whole game. Dan James had the best opportunity in the game and one of the only chances that we created, and he couldn't control the ball. He had no control over the ball, because that's what Dan James is, guys. Dan James should not be at Man United. The fact that Oli even found him fit to be at United should tell you about this manager, that Does he really understand how to spot a Man United player or to spot a player of top ability? Does he know that? Because you don't sign Dan James. Dan James gives us nothing. Dan James, it's all about pace with Dan James, and you don't even see his pace in the games. And that's the problem for me. Whereas you look at Adama Traore, and you see Adama Traore's pace. You clearly see his pace. You see Rashford's pace. I don't see Dan James's pace. I don't see it at all. Because his footballing IQ is so low that he doesn't know when to run, where to run, and how to run. He doesn't know that. And that's why when you look at Bruno Fernandez is always angry at Dan James. Always angry at Dan James because he knows Dan James is not good enough to be at the club. When Dan James, he had another opportunity. Remember when Bruno and Dan James were running for the same ball? And they were literally one-on-one with keeper. But Bruno left the ball in fear that he was offside. And Dan James never take the ball. Bruno was lashing at Dan James. And he's always lashing at Dan James because he knows Dan James is not good enough. Bruno also lashes at Scott McTominay. And a lot of the times in the game, you need to look at Bruno, guys. You need to look at Bruno. He's always throwing his hands up. He's always frustrated because he knows he's playing with bums. He knows he's playing with players that are not good enough. And that's why he doesn't want to sign this new contract. There's rumors that he's waiting for Paul Pogba to sign a contract. Then he will sign because he knows Paul Pogba is world class. And he knows that the future of this team depends on Paul Pogba. Because if we lose Paul Pogba, I really feel it for United because there's no creativity in this team when you take Bruno out of the situation. And even now we're speaking about Bruno. Bruno also, he was man-marked in this game by that guy Phillips. The CDM for Leeds. Man-marked. And it wasn't out-and-out man-marking like, out-and-out world-class man-marking is Ander Herrera on Eden Hazard. Or it's Cambiasso on Messi many years ago. Those are outstanding man-markings. This was just an average man marking and Bruno couldn't shake that guy off. So that also raises for me questions over Bruno is that many teams will put a man marking on him. He needs to understand how to get rid of that marker. He needs to understand how to take that marker completely out the game. He needs to understand that, and the manager also needs to make him aware of that because many teams will man mark Bruno because they know if you shut Bruno out, you shut Man United. We've got no creativity outside of Bruno if Pogba don't play. And that's what's so vital. We say this, I say this, and many of the fans say this. We need Pogba in an advanced role for United in a midfield three, on the left of a midfield three, playing as a number 8. So that if teams shut Bruno out, you still got Paul Pogba. If teams shut Paul Pogba out, you still got Bruno Fernandez. It gives the teams too much to think about. And that's the reason why we need Pogba in an attacking role. But even when Oli brought on Paul Pogba, guys, I feel that Oli brought him on in the wrong position. That's just my feeling. It's because he could have put him on the right position, but we needed Donny van de Beek because we needed someone to go into our midfield to dictate the tempo of the game and take control over the game. Not that we were being overrun in the midfield, but take control over the game where when we have the ball, distribute the ball properly, move the ball correctly, pose a threat that you can make those balls over the top from the midfield. We had no one. The only person that was passing the ball over the top was Victor Lindelof, and he's our defender. Scott McTominay and Fred cannot do that. So I think Oli made a mistake in the substitution of Pogba. He should have made Paul Pogba go into the midfield opposed to make him go on the wing because we could not get the ball to Bruno Fernandez, to Marcus Rashford, to Greenwood. Greenwood had he had probably one opportunity that we gave him, and that was where he was running away from the goal and he took that shot on his left foot. But he was running away from the goal. We did not create proper opportunities in this game. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I just don't think that Man United wants to win this game. I don't think that the manager was concerned about winning this game. I think that our concern is on Roma because that's a very important game. That's a semi-final. So it was a boring game, guys. It was a boring game. Let me go through the players very quickly. Dean Henderson never have much to do at all. Nothing to do. I'll give him a 6. He never have anything to do. A 6, not because he was bad. A 6 because he never have anything to do. Wan-Bissaka, I saw Wan-Bissaka going forward, but also I saw Wan-Bissaka messing up when he goes forward. I saw him not having the ability to beat people. I saw him not having the ability to whip in dangerous crosses. His attacking game is so bad because his technical ability is bad. But one thing you know with Wan-Bissaka, his one-on-one defending is outstanding. You can't go past him. But I'll give him a 6. I don't think it is an outstanding performance from him. Victor Lindelof, I give Victor a 7. I thought he was our best defender. On the people talk about Harry Maguire being a ball-playing centre-back. Harry Maguire ain't no ball-playing centre-back. Victor Lindelof is the ball-playing centre-back. Victor Lindelof is better than Harry Maguire. We paid 30 million for Victor Lindelof. We paid 80 million for Maguire, and Lindelof is better than Maguire. Another decision that you have to put at the manager's feet. How can you see it fit to pay 80 million for Maguire? Anyway, Victor Lindelof with a 7, Harry Maguire a 6. I don't think he done much. Our defense was under pressure. They weren't under pressure, so I'll give him a 6. Luke Shaw, I saw Luke Shaw going forward. I saw him driving forward. I give Luke Shaw, I can't give him a 7. I don't think it was a fantastic performance from Luke Shaw. I did see him have endeavour. So I'll give him a 6.5. I'll give him a half better than Wan-Bissaka because he is better going forward than Bissaka. He does look dangerous going forward. And he's playing quick 1-2s with Rashford and looking dangerous on the left wing. So I'll give him a 6.5. Scott McTominay, I'll give Scott a 4. I'm dead serious, a 4 because I just don't think he doesn't offer us anything when we have the ball. He doesn't offer us anything. A 4 for Scott, a 4 for Fred as well. Or let me give Fred a 5. I give Fred a 5 because Scott McTominay in large parts of the game was hiding. One thing about Fred is like Paul Pogba. They can be having a bad game. They will never hide. They will always demand the ball. Even if they've just given the ball away. Even if someone has just pinched the ball off one of them, they will still demand the ball in a very, very, very tight area. They don't hide. And that's one of the things I can commend Fred on. This game was his best game, but he doesn't hide. You still saw Fred. So I'm going to give Fred a 5. I gave Scott a 4. I'm going to give Fred a 5. Bruno Fernandez in the 10 position. I'm going to give Bruno a 6.5. You know, I thought it was a mixed performance from Bruno. It certainly wasn't a shambolic performance. It wasn't a bad performance. I've seen bad from Bruno. I've seen Bruno have some really bad games. Not like last week or 2 weeks before. Like, let me also say this. Bruno at the beginning of the season was outstanding. Bruno, the second half of the season has been average. From January, February, March, now April, Bruno has been average, guys. Average. And some performances have been really below par. But this performance, I wouldn't say it was below par from Bruno. I'll say it was a mixed performance. There were moments where I saw, okay, there is some quality. And there was moments where I saw no quality. But I've seen worse performances from Bruno and I saw him score a goal. Or I saw him score a penalty. And I saw Man United winning the game. So I will give Bruno a 6.5. I don't think it was a bad performance from him. I just thought it was a mixed performance. Spoke about him being man-marked. He has to understand how to take the marker out the game. That's how you deal with a man-marking situation. You take the guy completely out the game. And by doing that, you move him around. So you need to go on the left wing or you need to go on the right wing or you need to pick the ball up deep. In that way, you're creating a hole in the team. Especially when it's a midfielder man marking you. A central midfielder man marking you. Such as Phillips, where he's their holding midfielder. If you take that guy out the game, put him on the wing or come drop in deep, then there's a hole in their midfield. And we can vacate that area. So Bruno needs to learn how to take a marker out the game. 6.5 from Bruno. Marcus Rashford, I give him a 6.5 as well. Once a very good performance from Rashford, an average performance from Rashford. 6.5 for Rashford, nothing really. Dan James, I give Dan James a 5. No, I won't give him a lower rating than Scott. I won't give him a rating of Scott, but he wasn't good enough. Dan James is not good enough to be at Manchester United. It's simple, period. He's not. So I'm going to give Dan James a 5. And I'll give Mason Greenwood a 6. Mason Greenwood was feeding off scraps. There weren't really anything that we created for him. And Paul Scholes said, half-time, he said Man United are playing with out-and-out number 9. And I agree with him. I agree with him because Greenwood is not ready to lead the line for United. He's not. He's not ready to lead the line for United. He's still got many areas that he has to develop as a striker. Many areas. So the only proper number 9 we have at this club is Edinson Cavani. And that's why if Cavani leaves end of the season, we have to look for someone in the mold of a Cavani. In the mold of that type of striker. We can't sign another Anthony Martial 2.0. It's no use. It's no use. We've got Martial, we've got Greenwood. They are similar types of strikers. We need strikers that are clever in and around the box, that have instinct to be at the right place at the right time, that have a head, that can score with their head. That's the type of striker that we need. And we need to go out into the market and look for that. The substitutions that Oli brought on, Paul Pogba came on, the 75th minute. Never see too much of Paul. I'll give Paul a 6. Never see too much of Paul. He tried, but 75th minute, what can you do? The other substitution was Cavani. Came on later than Paul as well. I don't know what minute, but he came on later than Paul. You can't. I give him a 6, but a 6 just because he was on the pitch. Because you never see anything of Cavani. He came on too late. The substitutions were too late. And then Donny came on too late even to give him a rating. Came on the 88 minutes. So the substitutions were a clear indication that we did not want to win this game. We were willing to drop points. And the focus is on Roma. So guys, that's my match review. Let me know what you think in the comments. If I've said anything that you don't agree with, let me know in the comments. And I will reply back to you in the comments. So I'm out, guys. Peace. I'll see you for the Roma game. Let's get through that game and let's go to the final of the Europa. Peace.